I watched the Tenta one, which I didn't understand why John Tenta was on a dark side of the Chris Colt one, and I watched Buff. I was thinking about watching Terry Gordy's one tonight.
Chris Colt was great, man.
Hmm?
I only have like I have his Portland stuff, but and I have like and I have some of his Continental stuff, but I have most of Continental, but I don't think he was on TV a lot in Continental because I don't remember seeing him there. And I always got Continental, and plus I got it on tape on DVD too.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, well, I don't know. It was like, and it had to have been like '87 or something. And I was watching it here in Knoxville in '87, and I don't remember seeing him there.
That Dark Side of the Ring thing too. It's like, Chad, obviously you don't know our dad, but our dad isn't a wrestling fan. But I was talking to him the other day, and he's like, "Hey, man," I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "You ever watched that Dark Side of the Ring?" I'm like, "Well, yeah." He goes, "Man, them motherfuckers are crazy." Like, yeah, they're pretty fucking crazy.
It's wrestlers,
like,
man.
Yeah, he likes it because he was like, "Man, it's like watching because Dad's a big football guy, so he's like, it's like watching some of those like 30 for 30s or NFL things or whatever. They talk about some of the
and that's why
crazier athletes or whatever. It's like, man, Dad was like, "Man, I didn't know those guys are like that." I'm like,
well, and sometimes when
you don't even fucking know.
That sometimes when the internet wrestling goofs talk about not liking a certain episode of Dark Side, or they don't like the way it's produced or whatever, it's like, you guys don't have any clue. But it's like they're trying to mass produce this for people, not just for us. They're trying to mass produce this for people that aren't wrestling fans. It's not. It's a TV show. It's not. They aren't going, you know what? We got to make this show so the neckbeards on Twitter really like it. That's not their goal.
Hey, Aaron, don't forget to tell your dad they have a dark side of football.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, he said it was like that, like watching that shit. He's like, but he's retired now, so he's sitting around the house. But he's like, yeah, I watched one episode, and he's like, I got into it. He's like, I watched like 5 of them shits in a row, and he was like, I didn't know those guys are that fucking crazy. Yeah, there's some fucking.
Yeah, Sherry had me popping, man, because I got to hang out with her a lot and be friends with her and stuff. And she's crazier than they even told you on that show, dude. She was crazy. She can't drive for shit either. She was a drunk driving motherfucker. I'll tell you that.
What always got me about John Tenta was when I was a kid and Earthquake was on WWF TV. I thought he was like 50. And it turns out during that run he was like 24 or something. It's like, Jesus Christ.
It was the same way with Boss Man. It's like Boss Man was like 40 when he passed away, and like Rude was 40 when he passed away. It's like, these look like grown ass fucking men. Like, I'm 41, and I don't
look at Terry Gordy. Look at Terry Gordy at like 19. Holy fuck!
Wasn't Big Boss Man like 44?
I think Boss Man was 40.
Oh, okay.
I can look it up
because I know Rude was cool, 40.
Man. I really liked him a lot. I liked hanging out with him. Like, we had other things in common. Like, we talked about he used to own a printing company. And I worked in printing, so we talked about printing, and we got along pretty good. I actually kind of miss him.
Yeah, Bubba was 41 when he died.
Like, well, it's insane to think. It's insane to think how much like guys like him and Rude and Hennig and whatnot like packed into that much of their life, like that little of their lives. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They lived like 2 or 3 lives compared to like a normal guy. Fucking nuts.
And I'm still outliving them. I don't question that shit anymore. I'll just be happy I saw tomorrow if I see tomorrow.
Yeah, that's crazy because that means when Ray Traylor was working with Hulk Hogan, he was like 24.
That's what I'm saying.
Fucking nuts.
Think about when he was working with Dusty and fucking not catching Jim Cornette.
Not catching him.
Well, I'm going to leave all this in, but this week on Reliving the Extreme, we have a short conversation about the episode of ECW from June 4th, 1996. You heard my brother Aaron, you heard Chad Austin, I'm Nate Maxon, your host. And we just did a little discussion about Dark Side of the Ring, but also Aaron has a question for us that he's going to ask as well, because like we were talking about before we went on the air, it's not that this is a bad episode of ECW, but it's one of those episodes that I just don't have a lot of notes on. We're at a starting point for some things, and some things I wrote down in here are a little long in the tooth. So we will get into all of that. But before we do, Aaron, what was your question that you wanted to pose to Chad and myself? And of course, you're going to answer it as well.
It was 3 wrestlers that never worked for ECW but were active during the run of ECW that you think would have been a really good fit.
Okay, who wants to go first?
You kind of want to do like one at a time?
Oh, that's fine. We can do that.
Yeah, I mean, because I purposely didn't write down 3 then because I wanted to see like if we could like noodle this like all together,
right?
kind of thing. I mean, because I mean, there's the obvious, the kind of the Jim Cornettes and the Lawlers that did like one-off kind of stuff, but you're talking about like full-time runs.
Appeared. Yeah, never.
Because the
never
minute
appeared.
I'll just go first quick. The minute that Aaron sent the question to us in our chat for the group, the first name that came to my mind, and you guys might disagree, you might agree, was Carl Ouellette.
He wasn't on my list, but I could see that. He was a big bump taker. He's a big dude. Yeah, I can see it.
But he wasn't. He wasn't really then, was he? I mean, well, he wasn't known for that then, I don't think. But I mean,
well, he had some really.
When he was with the Quebecers, he was.
And even though he was doing, even though he was doing that stupid pirate gimmick, he had some really fucking good matches with Bret Hart. I call 95 like Bret Hart's like year where he had like it was like all comic book villains. He was like his rogues gallery or whatever. It's like he's fighting the dentist and the pirate and the king and the Mr. Bob Backlund. And it's just Bret Hart 1995. He's just wrestling every fucking stupid gimmick that Vince could come up with. It's like comic book villains. But anyway.
There you go. Bret Hart would have been good in ECW. I mean, they could have definitely did something with him. I had Backlund too.
Yeah, we discussed Backlund last week. Yeah, I mean, he would have just that if he would have kept that crazy ass gimmick and just rolled it right into ECW. Imagine, like I said, like Bob Backlund interacting with Blue Meanie during Pulp Fiction, or Bob Backlund interacting with the Sandman. Good God,
the Dudleys.
I want Bob Backlund to interact with JT Smith.
What did you say? No, really. What did you say?
As Bob's looking through his thesaurus or dictionary, while JT's just saying regular words, and Bob's got to look them up. He has no idea. But Backlund would have been great. I mean, Carlos Colon, he would have been a great fit in ECW. I don't know about how long he would have lasted, but with the blood and guts shit. I mean, I just jotted down just a couple of names. Killer Khan, I thought would have been great.
Imagine the ECW crowd reacting to Killer Khan's screaming.
Yeah, just him coming out, man. Like if you did like the Japanese like walk to the ring, like kind of like with the swinging of the chair, like Brody. Kind of shit, like
with the big Hershey kiss on his head.
Yeah, his little Jew cap. But I thought Killer Khan would have been great. I mean, literally. I mean, the first thing I thought of, the thing popped in my head was pretty much anybody that worked for Carlos Colon, like in the Mighty Igor would have been great. Crowd would have loved Mighty Igor Dudley. The Polish Prince of Penis.
Who was
That would have been something.
Who was somebody you had, Aaron?
It's somebody that I think I mentioned before when we had a question of just like one guy, but and he's the top guy on my list, and I think he would have been perfect in ECW is Haku.
Thank God.
Fucking perfect.
Hopefully he would have been after my run. I mean, if I thought New Jack killed me, God, I did not want to be a job guy for Haku in ECW. No, sorry, Bob.
Like I think that guy would have fucking ran the goddamn territory. I think.
Dude, could you imagine primetime Brian Lee setting up Haku for that choke slam off the stage to the tables, and Haku just looking down and going, "That's not happening.
Not happening, brother. Not happening, brother."
Something tells me Brian Lee was going to the tables. What about a guy like Bill Dundee? How do you think he would have done there?
I think Bill would have been. I think he would have done good, but I think he would have been better as like a manager worker.
So let's say it's 94, 95. Yeah, that makes me think, what if you resurrect that short-lived team of Bill Dundee and Buddy Landell in ECW?
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's put that in the ECW Pulp Fiction montage with Bubba on the phone. That's all you need right there is the Bill and Buddy show.
Who you calling, Daddy?
Yeah. Buddy Landell. But we got the Tommy Riches like later on and all, but but it's too bad they were already like way past their primes, But Harley Race
also putting Buddy Landell into the ECW locker room might have killed him quicker than he actually died. Let's be honest.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, Bill Dundee came to mind, but around that time, wasn't he doing the stuff with Steven Regal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like I think in ECW it would have been like him doing that with a guy, but also like working. I think I would imagine him and being a group and kind of like what Tommy Rich was with the full-blooded Italians, where he was just kind of a working manager. I think I don't know who he'd be with.
Here's one that nobody would have ever. I know you guys would have never thought of it, but a guy like Grizzly Boone, he would have been good because he was still doing the Brody stuff. And he was a big guy that could still do stuff, and he was a nobody. Basically, he was just an independent guy, around that time, kind of working in Georgia and shit like that. But I thought he would have been a good fit. And and Bob Armstrong, of course. Seriously.
After Pierre, the second name I wrote down, and again, we're talking about Paulie can afford these people. Like you have to take some things out of consideration. Like can with this when you're going into a scenario like this. But what about Vader?
Oh, I don't think Vader would have done it. Honestly, I bet you. I don't know.
Don't think Bam Bam could have convinced him to come in for a little bit.
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, I'm sure he would have came in and did a couple of spots, but I just don't see him wanting to be there like for any length of time. Especially working that style.
Vader murders El Puerto Ricano in the ECW arena.
And Chad,
I could see him having I could see it being kind of like how Sid was. Where it'd be like maybe like just a cup of coffee and he's just there in between something or whatever, but I don't see it being a long-term thing.
I still I'm really curious and really intrigued about Bill Dundee and Buddy Landell. That would have been just something. That would have been just something else, man. God damn. Put them in the FBI. That'd be awesome too.
Yeah, Mama Mia, Daddy.
Yeah, there's just like I would have loved to have seen Onita around longer. Or was he even in ECW? Did Onita ever work there? Besides that, no, he did ICW, right?
I don't know if I don't think he ever did ECW. And I mean, he might have been when they went over to Japan. Maybe
I don't think so because they went over
No?
with Japan and they worked with War.
Okay.
Didn't he? Wasn't he there? Like I swear he was there when we were talking about like when like the headhunters and shit were there, wasn't he?
No, because that was Wing.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, I mean the only time that I I mean because I when they were in Japan they were working with Nagasaki's group over there, and that was NOW. So really, yeah, I don't think Onita. I don't think there would have been they would have crossed paths at all. But shit, Onita and ECW in like '96, man, that would have been some shit right there, dude. Because he was over in '96.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a slew of guys.
The other name, okay, so Aaron said 3, and I wrote 3 down, and then of course as we talk, you come up with more. But I wrote down Pierre, I wrote down Vader. The other name I wrote down as a possibility is Scott Norton.
Oof. God, thank God I was gone by this time.
Yeah, well, no, we're bringing in all these fucking bruisers, but I mean, if you could have got Norton versus Bam Bam in the ECW arena, or I think the matchups for Norton are endless in that company.
Brian Lee would have been decent.
Yeah, I could see Norton in ECW.
Hell, after watching Dark Side, I would love to have seen Chris Colt. that would have been some shit. He was actually still alive till then, right? Technically, he was alive in '96. He didn't die till '97, I think.
Mm-hmm. I think you're right.
So yeah, he could have did a short run there. What about John Tolis? Yeah, the possibilities are endless. The more that we peel it back, yeah, there's some classics there. But yeah, we came up with three good solid ones, I think.
Well, I have 2 more.
Okay, shoot 'em, man.
It's kind of funny because you brought up Carlos and talking about guys working in Puerto Rico. I think Savio Vega would have worked in ECW.
As TNT?
Just as TNT or Savio, however you're gonna do it. Just the guy himself. I think he would have fit in.
God, you were trying to get me killed. God, thank God I wasn't working there this time while we were watching this and booking it. I would have quit. There's no chance I would have taken them beatings in ECW if all these guys are there. Holy shit. Now, if you would have put like Snake Brown in there, I'd work there. Buddy Rose. Did you?
And then, Nate, did you have another one?
No, I wrote those 3 down, and then Buddy Landell just came to my mind when Chad said Bill Dunn.
Well, then the last one I got, and this might be the one where you guys kind of like, I don't know, shit on it or whatever. But I honestly think Paul Orndorff would have been a good
again. Jesus, God, again. I'm glad I was gone. Gee, God, Paul Orndorff against me in ECW, nah. That's okay.
I think Paul Orndorff would have killed it in ECW, man. He would have been great, I think.
Yeah, he would have killed me in ECW. Oh, dude, like this time in 1996 with so much talent that's out there. I mean, like going to the Bret Harts all the way to the Pierres and that stuff. Like you can go in either direction because ECW is giving you so much of everything. I can't wait till we get into the. No, I don't. Yeah, she's at the beginning anyway. So,
like I just think like a Paul Orndorff that goes back to not shaving his beard and his chest and just being rugged fucking Paul Orndorff would have been great. I think.
Just call me stupid and say I have a bad memory if I get this wrong. you can tell me, yes, he was there. Yes, he did some shit. Did Steve Williams ever work ECW?
Yeah.
He ends up he fights Raven. We're gonna be
Okay.
coming up on that a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember when he came out, he had that red hood on, and it took the majority of the fans like a few seconds to put it together, but the real hardcore people knew who it was as soon as he walked through the curtain, and we're like, "Oh shit, somebody's about to get their wig split." Mark Henry, he did work for ECW at the end.
That the ECW where the title belt looked like a hubcap. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a ton of guys, man. That would have been great, dude. And then because look at the way ECW was going in this direction anyway. When we get to the Taz stuff, all the UFC guys.
What if you how about this for hijinks? You announce that somebody's going to be present in the ECW arena, and they announce him, and they bring out Bob Sparkplug Holly. And the ECW arena is totally shitting on him because he's Bob Sparkplug Holly. And then he proceeds to lay waste to all kind. Like, you didn't know at the time what a badass Bob Holly was, but how about introducing him into ECW?
Yeah. Yeah. He would have hurt some people. Dutch Mantel.
He just fucks up Ian Rotten.
Yay! And the crowd went wild. Yay!
No, that was the locker room.
They're throwing babies.
The locker room be popping for that. Shit, yeah. I mean, like I said, going into that UFC stuff, man, you could have brought in guys like Chemo. Chemo would have been a great crossover guy there. Because I think he may have did one or two matches in California, but nothing. He wasn't any good. It was like one of them crossover matches and stuff. But yeah, them UFC guys, they would have been pretty good too. Especially in '96, because '96 with wrestling was just so all over the place. Shows everywhere, like everybody was running in '96.
And well, '96 and '97 are crazy because other than WCW, because they had become, the standard bearer, the biggest promotion or whatever, they kind of overtook Vince for a couple of years. Even Vince, from Vince to Heyman to everybody in the indies, everybody everywhere, everybody was just throwing shit against the wall to see what the next thing in wrestling is going to be. Like, how, it's time for this business to change. How do we change it? And I don't know. They're like 96 and 97 are two of my favorite years in wrestling to watch for almost every promotion.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say so. I think '96 was
WCW
good.
even. I mean, like you said, like everybody's throwing shit up against the wall to see what sticks. Like WCW is still doing it too. Like until they, to their detriment, decided like the NWO thing was the way to go. The NWO was still going on, but they still had like the Horsemen and the Cruiserweights, and they were throwing a bunch of shit out there too. Like their show seemed schizophrenic, and so did WWF, and ECW's all over the fucking place. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great time, '96. I honestly think it was one of my personal best years. Like I know I had a great time. I had the most fun in '96. That was one of my favorite years to work in, because that's when I was working for everybody. I was all over the place in '96. Well, started in '95, but carried over. Yeah.
So unless you guys have any other names, Aaron, did you have one left?
No, it was just Haku, Savio, and Paul Orndorff. Those were the first three that popped in my mind.
Yeah, we can do an hour on these guys, on just anybody that should have been there.
If I'm booking it, they're gonna fight Chad.
All in one TV taping.
It's a gauntlet. Yeah.
Well,
yeah, but we got 6 TV tapings in 1 week, so
yeah, it's all. And where's Chad at? Paul would have flew me in from Memphis just for that tapings.
And in the main event, Here he comes, Stan Hansen versus Chad Austin.
Dude, no, that wouldn't have happened.
I
was
got a
supposed
fat
to have
wife
been
and a
against
fat
Stan
kid at home.
It's a handicap match.
Would make me handicap match?
It's a handicap match. It's Paul Orndorff and Haku versus Chad Austin.
Yeah, great. No.
And the only person that has to tag is Chad. The other guys can just be in there together.
Yeah. You could have brought like 10 people out there to be my partners, and as I crawl over, one of them drops off the apron at the time until there's none left.
And dirt bike kids like, nah.
No, that's all right. Chad's doing all right.
El Puerto Ricano, Santa Maria, and he just leaves.
Yeah. Thank God Chad was gone. But that was a pretty good list.
Yeah. The episode of ECW we're discussing is June 4th, 1996. We get an intro from Joey Styles in the ring. He's in the ECW arena, and he introduces us to Stevie Richards and Raven, who come out. Of course, Stevie discusses the mission that Raven put him on to find the biggest skank, the skankiest woman, and Stevie Richards brings out a girl who I had to look up to remind myself why she was even relevant.
He found her at a mission, probably.
Divine Brown. I totally forgot why she was relevant. I had to look it up.
That's because she sucked.
Yeah, me too. Well, if Joey wouldn't have said it, I wouldn't know who she was. I was just like, who?
I remember because he went on the Leno show, and when he like after that, and it was like his first appearance after that, and he sat down and Leno looked at him and he's just like, what the hell were you thinking? But that's the only reason I remembered her. Well,
she was, yeah. I mean, I guess she was over for a minute. Yeah, but she didn't. That was nothing going on with that.
The main thing I have is when she got in the ring, she looked like a fucking baby deer that just got born when she was trying to fucking walk around.
She looked like a whore Willow Nightingale. That's what I got out of it.
Like she just kept wobbling her fucking legs because she couldn't walk in the ring in heels, and fucking Stevie had to pick her up. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
They tried to get her. They tried to open the ropes up for her to go to do the girl entrance, but yeah, she came in like a guy.
Yeah.
like they tried to let her in the ring like a chick, and she's like, "Oh, fuck all this." Divine Brown.
This is a fucking train wreck.
That essentially Raven says that this prostitute is not skanky enough.
He shoots on her.
Yeah, she hasn't been with. He was like, she hasn't been with enough guys. It's like, have you seen her try to walk? She has.
Yeah, Raven. I wrote down Raven's shot on her.
Yeah, he did the old Vince McMahon.
I wonder how many guys in the locker room actually shot on her that night.
And the shot on her, literally.
Yeah. It's like I was trying to think of the locker room. How many guys tried and how many guys actually got to? I was like, I know Bill Alfonso probably tried.
Oh, he got her. Oh, there's no doubt Bill Alfonso got her. Yeah, he was famous for the whores.
Probably Devon.
Devon Dick. Yeah, but she was but like literally, she was like only hot for like that. Like I knew it was a one and done because after they introduced her and then I had to realize who she was. I was like, yeah, this is just because she's in the news right now.
Yeah, but I'm sure she had loads of fun. ECW. But yeah, like Chad said and Aaron said, this was stupid. I mean, it was. I don't know what. I guess I understand the purpose. It's you're essentially Paulie's looking at this like, oh well, I mean, this is the way Howard Stern gets attention, bringing these freaks and these these idiots that are big for a couple of seconds in the national stage for something disgusting or something stupid or something controversial.
And I'm sure it didn't cost him. You know, it wasn't a big name he was bringing in, so I'm sure he promised her TV time and some dick, and she was
I
coming
mean, Hugh Grant only gave her $40.
in. Did he bang her in Memphis? Did Hugh Grant work for Lawler too?
she rode in with JT Smith and a Corsica. It's yeah.
Jobber.
Well, after the abortion of Raven and Divine Brown,
She's not a jobber, she's a gobbler.
Guzzler.
Joey Styles tells us what's coming up on today's show, and then we get this is a very Taz heavy show, and I get it. You're trying to build up Taz because you're going to start working the program with Taz and Sabu, but they bring out a fighter or a Muay Thai, is that what he was, or Taekwondo or Taekwondo Thai or some shit, some martial art guy named Jason Helton.
It was Job Can Do.
Mugu Guy Pan, yeah.
A black belt and Job Can Do.
Here comes Jason Szechuan Helton.
I never heard of him.
Tu Wong Tu, thanks for nothing, Julie Newmar or whatever. It's like, fuck this guy. This shit went for fucking ever.
But the match was only about 15 seconds.
The segment was fucking brutal. But I'll let you guys talk about it. No.
Dude, Taz dumped that piece of garbage on his head. God damn, dude. I noticed they were doing they started doing a lot more replays like around this time, and just watching him dump that jabroni on his head, and you can just see where he just landed right on the top of his head. And I was just like, God damn, Jason Harvey, whatever his name is, Jason Hambone.
And it's not even just knocking ECW. Anytime professional wrestling, any type of professional wrestling promotion tries to do anything where they're like, oh, we're going to have a shoot fight, or we're going to have a brawl for all, or we're going to do this, or we're going to do that, it doesn't fucking work. Because then you're taking the kayfabe out of it or whatever. You know, it's like, oh, this is a shoot fight, so this one's real.
Yeah, everything else on the show. Everything else on the show's bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like it. No matter what company did it, and they all tried to do it, it's fucking stupid.
That's why that's why I'm not a fan of work shoots either. All like Vince Russo's work shoot stuff, because it's like, well, everything else on this show is bullshit except this. This is real. You can't have it both ways. You can't. It just doesn't work. It's stupid.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Well, they bring that up. They bring that up today in the current product. If you watch AEW, like Jim Ross will say that stuff. Like, you know, what's the difference between this no contest or no DQ match and every other one?
Right.
There is no DQs. Yeah, but him dropping that sack of shit on his head was, that was something else, man. it was so good that there was no way they could not show it again. Mm-hmm. They had to show it again. He beat the crap out of that poor guy. I don't think he did anything afterwards.
My thing is, if they wouldn't have said this is a shoot fight, if they would have just said, this is Taz and he's an extreme wrestler, and this is Jason Holton, whatever his fucking name was, and he's a Muay Guy Pan guy, and we're gonna put him in there and see who fucking wins, I would have been fine with that. But the minute they're like, oh, this is a shoot fight, it's a real competition, that's where I was just like, fuck it, I don't like this.
Yes, it's Taz versus Szechuan in a stir fry shoot fight. Just doesn't work.
By any chance, did you guys catch like the first one or two knees that Jason Herzog gave him? Like when the match first started, he tried to start out with the Muay Thai stance kind of thing, and then when Taz came in, he went to deliver like two knees to the body, and they were brutal. like he threw him like he was going to hit him, but he just like moved his leg to where he just kind of touched him on the side. Like, 'cause I guess he didn't know how to like pull the kick or not hurt him, so he just kind of like touched him on the side, and I was like, man, this guy's terrible. He stunk.
It was funny when Bill Alfonso was like yelled at the guy, "Fight back, you skinny ass," or whatever he called him. That was funny.
Yeah, didn't he say he's going to dump him on his head too?
I think so.
Yeah, everybody knew the outcome of that one.
Yeah, but
But
the minute they
that
tried
was
to
just a
say-
setup for what we have next. I mean, what they were really
Yeah,
built to
which
do.
which is more bullshit.
I hope you guys know the story about this, what's coming up.
Well, I know how they got him the job.
So
Did you guys know about the Paul Varlin situation?
It was Missy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard it. It's one of the funniest things ever.
it's one of wrestling's great screw jobs.
Yeah, literally.
It wasn't even really a screw job.
He
No, I'm
got
saying-
screwed.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He got screwed, but not literally.
Like that just
I
goes
have
to show you it goes to show you how bad like I was telling my mom earlier we were watching, well, she was here when I was watching it, and I was like, you know, this guy right here, they're saying that he's like a really bad dude, like Taz. And I'm like, Taz is one of the nicest guys in the world. And he's not really a legitimate like shoot fighter. And Paul Varlin would have murdered him like in a real fight. So no wonder that Paul had to bribe Paul with sex from Missy Hyatt. Missy Hyatt has a room. Was it Missy Hyatt, the walk and ride? Like he had to bribe Missy to sleep with him, so he put over Taz. That's, if I was Taz, I'd be embarrassed that Paul had to do that.
For those of you that don't know the story, essentially Missy, if I get it wrong, let me know. But Missy said that if Paul Varlins would job to Taz, she'd give him a blowjob. And then when he jobbed to Taz, she said, "I don't blow jobbers, or I don't blow jabronis."
I don't blow jobbers. Yeah, I don't blow jabronis. He like destroyed the locker room.
He did?
That's what I read is he was like, "All right, I did my job. Now do yours." And she's like, "I don't blow jobbers." And he got so mad, like he ripped up the locker room.
Where was Taz at then?
Probably getting a blowjob from Missy.
I don't think so, brother.
It's like, well, Divine Brown's out front if you want to go.
I know.
She's not out front.
They could have just had
is in it.
Divine Brown go up to Paul Varlins and hand him the envelope with
Yeah,
nothing
okay,
in it.
She is by the Applebee's dumpster.
Yeah, what a whore.
She's out front. The fuck.
When I say what a whore, I mean you could pick one.
Divine
All right,
Brown
so-
has never done anything out front.
So like Aaron said, this segment goes on and on and on forever with Taz challenging somebody to come out or to fight him after he pretty much jobs out this Jason Helton guy who, like Chad said, he drops in his fucking dome like.
Yes, he does.
But and then Paul Varlins is in the crowd trying to accept Taz's challenge, and then they just continually are just pulling them. I don't even know that he even made contact, but they're just
They're not even
continually
pulling them apart. They're pulling him away. That's the thing that's the other thing I didn't like about it was Taz is like, "Come on, fight me," and they're having to pull that guy away, but Taz isn't actually going at him.
No,
You know what I
dude,
mean?
I looked at it. I looked at it completely different. I thought Taz did a great job of saying, "Just get in here." Like all you got to do is get in here, brother. You know, and I, like I said, no one like in real life Taz, and I thought he did a great job of making himself sound believable. Like he made me for that moment believe like he was going to beat the shit out of this guy. You know what I'm saying? And because like I said, Taz wasn't beating Paul Varlins up. That wasn't really going to happen in real life, but that made me believe. I thought he did a great job.
I think to me it was like he did a great job as being like a heel because nobody was holding him back, but it was like taking like 40 guys to hold this fucking Paul Varlin's guy back. I think it would have been better as like an actual pull apart.
No, man. See, I
That's just me.
disagree because in actuality, because Paul Varlins was a guest or whatever, and he had a ticket, he was still a fan. So Taz was like, just let him go, let him get in the ring, and I'll beat his ass. So it made like Taz stood his ground, saying, "This is my domain, this is my home. I will whip your ass."
I can see that part of it too. But the other part, in my opinion, was I kind of lost interest in it though because it's like it went forever.
He had to go on for a while.
It just went way too long.
Well, speaking of going way too long, oof.
And
then they recap it later.
Yes.
God damn it.
Joey Styles hypes the Taz versus Varlins kind of thing, and then speaking of going too long, as I mentioned something about something going long in the tooth when we started out the show. I am tired of Tommy Dreamer and Brian Lee and the Bruise Brothers. I'm tired of it. I want it to be over so bad. Just stop. It's enough.
Yep.
I put upon Tommy a new name to this because I saw he did it last week. He was trying to do a new look and he's Tommy No Sleeves.
Oh, is that what he's doing now?
Yeah, he's got no sleeves. He's trying to do cutoff.
Look over there, it's Tommy No Sleeves. Look at him over there.
Yeah, it's like Tommy No Sleeves. It's like, hey, I'd be like, hey Tommy, do people with no feet wear shoes? And he'd be like, no. Well, would people with no hands wear gloves? And he'd be like, no. Like, then why are you wearing a muscle shirt?
Well,
Tommy No Sleeves.
My question to you is during this match, you know, being that it was a typical brawl, Joey Styles makes a comment that I don't have any idea. Like, I don't know where it came from, but he says that Tommy Dreamer swings a chair better than Ken Griffey Jr. Was there an incident with Ken Griffey Jr. swinging chairs? Or did he?
I heard that too. I think he was
need home runs.
I think he was trying to like compare it to a bat, but it was like it didn't.
He should have said that then.
Dude, yeah, that's what
he swears he swings the chair better than Ken Griffey swings a bat, but I don't remember Ken Griffey running out and like fucking hitting anybody with a chair.
Standing at home plate, like where they tap the bat on the home plate, he's tapping a chair there.
He's got a chair.
And he's looking down at the third base coach and he's telling him to choke up on the chair. Yeah. Because I almost wanted to go look it up in Google and see if there was an incident with Ken Griffey Jr. in a chair. Because that's exactly what I thought of. I was like, where does this come from? It was stupid.
This match is Tommy Dreamer.
It would have worked better if he would have said like, "Oh, Tommy swings a chair better than Bobby Knight." It's like at least that would have made sense. Bobby Knight used to fucking throw chairs around and shit. But yeah, it did make sense with bringing up Ken Griffey.
And I only know Bobby Knight as a jobber for the WWE because he came out of Maryland.
Well, this match
that's what I would have thought of, Aaron. If you would have said something about Bobby Knight, like, he knows Street Heat, Bobby Knight. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, the match is Dreamer and the Pitbulls against Brian Lee and the Bruise Brothers in an elimination match. Did I miss something in the commentary about the title shot deal? Because was it just that the winner of this match was going to get a title shot?
They said it at the very beginning. Like, as a matter of fact, they may have said it not before the match when Joey was like talking about what was coming up, but they didn't really they didn't really hype it.
Joey just said that Stevie Richards said if any of Tommy or the Pitbulls survived to the end, they'd get a guaranteed shot against Raven.
So if Dreamer and the Pitbulls all would have survived, it would have been a 4-way for the title with Dreamer, the Pitbulls against Raven for the title. I don't know. I guess I was like, did I miss something in commentary? Because the premise here doesn't make any fucking sense. Because you're not guaranteed a sole survivor, you know. I don't know. Whatever.
It is
Whatever.
wrestling.
Whatever. I'm applying logic to an illogical situation.
Hey, you're watching a show where a hooker walked out and fumbled around like a gazelle, and then fucking Stevie Richards held her like a baby while she cut a promo about sucking Raven's dick.
But her big Willow Nightingale ass. Slob.
Yeah.
Think about it too much.
All right.
That Raven, chick. Don't think about it too much. Just do it.
that Raven DDT though, Raven on the stage was good, or like where he drops him like that. You know, that was pretty. That was pretty cool.
Mm.
Like they had a couple of good spots, but like again, I hate when there's so much going on. Like I would have just rather like it sucks when the action is happening behind the hard cam. It makes sense because you got to go to like another shot from somebody out front of the camera, like a handheld or something to see it when it's right there on the stage. If the camera was on a swivel or something.
Well, and I know that they're not. I know in 1996 they weren't making these shows so they could say, "Boy, I hope 30 years ago or 30 years from now, there's going to be these guys that want to do a podcast and take notes on our show." I know they weren't thinking that, but these matches are so, I say it every week, but they're so hard to take notes on because sometimes you're flipping from, Dreamer's over here fighting Brian Lee, and one of the Bruise Brothers is over here with Pitbull 2. And so they're flashing from fight to fight or whatever. It's just, I don't know. It's hard to take notes on the match itself.
And now there's the two random rats making out, and then Raven DDTs them. And it's like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, but was it Raven or was it Dreamer that gave Raven the plunger to the puss? When I heard that, I laughed because like Joey Styles has had to say he gives him a plunger to the puss. And Tommy's done. That shocked me too that Tommy was eliminated. Well, he was like eliminated early, right?
Yeah, and it was kind of almost like they played it up like he essentially got eliminated by accident.
Yeah, but his character also, like, he went through those two tables and then got eliminated, so he didn't get fucked up before it.
He got posted too. They're still beating up his balls.
And I know we mocked Tommy or whatever, but that fucking choke slam he took, that was to those two tables. That was pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's another spot that I wouldn't want to take.
Like visually, I thought it looked cool because he also he hit his arm off the other table, like that was sitting there or whatever. It looked killer. I liked that part.
Tommy is done, is what I wrote.
Well, Pitbull 2 winds up being the sole survivor of this match. And of course, they say, Joey said that the winner's going to get a title shot down the line. And Raven says, well,
it's down the line.
It's down the line now. So Raven wants the instant title defense against Pitbull 2. And, of course, Raven retains against Pitbull 2. Good heel move.
The infamous loaded boot.
Yes.
That Joey Styles says was spring-loaded. like what?
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, he said it's got to be some sort of spring-loaded mechanism in his boot. And I'm thinking
his Raven's got to stomp it before he hits it or whatever.
I just thought of Raven getting his boots from the Acme Corporation.
It was because I know it wasn't Bill Ash. Because I know that Bill Ash is not going to make a set of boots where one of them has a spring-loaded mechanism in it with a piece of lead or something in it. Because the way Raven made it, if you paid attention or if you knew, if they made more of a deal about it, if you look at Raven's boots, one of his boots did have a higher, it's called a riser for the sole. Mm-hmm. And sometimes sometimes it was black and sometimes it was white, the sole part. But yeah, there's the one boot that he uses has a higher sole on it.
Does he have two? Are his legs different lengths? That's a serious question. It's a serious question. I'm not making a joke.
It's not a joke because they even brought it up when he got to WCW, when he first started there. That was part of his gimmick.
And then he's got one leg shorter than the other.
Yeah, and it might be true. It's probably because of the complications from his gout.
They Well, if they what did they cut off? You can't cut him. You can't cut his leg off at some point and then and super glue it back together. You would have had to have taken off like layers of skin off his foot or something. I mean, I don't know how you make somebody's leg shorter without making it noticeable.
You had to go to see Dr. Vinny Boombot.
In the WCW lore of it, it was just the fact that he was born that way. Like he just had a
one leg shorter than the other. Oh, that's a wrestling. That's Dark Side of the Ring coming up next season.
Yeah,
about Raven's feet. But it was good. I mean, it was a good brawl. I mean, I thought we already start. Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't we already start to see like the Pitbull 2 like push, or is it starting now?
I think it's starting now because we're not.
Sorry.
No, yeah, because we're not. I think isn't Gary Wolf? Isn't Pitbull 1 at this point like legit injured?
Well, have we seen the
his
Halo
arm's
yet?
fucked up. No, we're not at Halo yet.
Oh,
That's
okay,
what he
so
starts
then,
with Shane. But his arm's fucked up, and I was just gonna say this was kind of like, even though he lost to Raven, it was kind of like we know Gary Wolf's arm's fucked up. We want to keep this feud going, and I think obviously Paulie saw something in Pitbull 2. This was kind of like Pitbull 2's like coming out party, you know.
all right, so because Dreamer's going to be locked in his little Brian Lee thing going on, Gary's going to be gone. So yeah, I guess they had to find a way to elevate 2 to get him in that spot because he was the only one that was kind of healthy. Plus, you could Taz him on his head all day long, and he wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah, and he looks fucking awesome. You know, it's like, yeah, I think that's what this was to me. This was them saying like, I think we might be able to get something out of Pitbull 2, so let's make him look like a fucking $1,000,000 because
Everybody knew
he
he was a badass anyway.
Yeah, and like he survived to the end. He beat 2 guys, and after that, he went like 12 minutes with Raven, and it took Raven to cheat to have to beat him. Yeah, this was them setting the seeds to try to do something with Pitbull 2.
Yeah, he was a legitimate. I mean, everybody's seen those spots where he took the spot over the top rope and landed on his head on the floor and stuff like that. And he got back up and all he did was shake it off. And it was like, how the hell is this guy like? He's like Pierre, whatever Olette. Like you can't hurt him. Pitbull CO.
Well, right at the beginning of the match, that fucking press slam or whatever they took to the table, that looked fucking great.
Yeah, I guess you're right though. I never really looked at it that way. Like that, hey, you got to take everybody out of the equation, and you just got Pitbull number 2 left. So yeah, they got to do something with him. But I thought we'd already seen the push, but I guess you're right.
Now this is them. It's kind of like Paul just testing the waters, see if the people react to him, and they were reacting to him really well. So
well, they already knew I mean, his legend has already been there. From everybody knew him from being a local guy there anyway. That he is a legitimate badass, and then he proved it. Multiple times by getting killed and just getting back up and not selling anything. So it's built in right there, and he's the only one healthy. So go ahead, why not?
And then we end the show with a Brian Lee promo talking about his choke slam.
It ain't the choke slam anymore, fella.
Oh yeah.
I thought this was them doing what we're doing now, trying to squeeze an hour out of this.
It was, and it was dumb because he was like the power bomb guy, started ECW, killed by everybody else, but now I'm bringing it back and I'm calling it the primetime bomb.
No, primetime slam.
Primetime slam.
It was
like he should have the better name would have been what he called his move when he was in Smoky Mountain. Like that would the better name would have been the cancellation. That's just I mean, that might be me being thinking too much of it. But yeah, I was like, primetime slam, stupid.
Yeah, dude. It is like, it sounds like something NBC would promote for a Thursday night.
Yeah. The
It's
monster truck show.
roller derby and Dr. Science.
Or one of those shows WWF would do on a Sunday right before WrestleMania or whatever when Raw was preempted.
Oh, Todd Pettengill.
Yeah, Todd Pettengill in the prime time. Todd Pettengill and Doc Hendricks on the prime time slam.
Tom Pettengill and Charlie Min here with the primetime
Yeah,
slam.
Charlie Min. Jesus Christ.
Was that the girl?
No, that was
No, that was Stephanie Wine.
Well, throw them all out there. The whole
Joe Fowler's here too, folks.
Vic Venom.
Bro.
What's his Ed Ferrara or whatever his name is. Oklahoma. I would have been much happier if they would have given Divine Brown the primetime slam.
So one of the funniest things ever was after it's stupid. After the WWF deal and after WCW went out of business and everything, I don't know why I found it so hilarious that Ed Ferrara had dreadlocks.
Yeah, he wound up in TNA.
Yeah.
He was like in his 50s.
My favorite thing about that guy was they were like, when people started shit talking Vince and Ed after they left, like Cornette was like, yeah, they brought in the guy that wrote Duckman. And Ed Ferrara was like, he said I wrote Duckman. I didn't write Duckman. I wrote Weird Science.
Well, at least I heard it, Duckman.
Sucked. They both sucked, dude. Like,
was Weird Science a show besides a movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. They tried to do Weird Science on the USA Network, and he was like, I did Weird Science, not Duckman. Like,
that was George Costanza, wasn't he? Duckman?
Yeah.
Well, Ed Ferrara sucks.
And to end the show, the ECW show this week, they tell us that next week we're going to see Brian Pillman. And then I think that
one thing be the name of the episode. Can that be the name of the episode?
Ed Ferrara sucks.
Ferrara sucks.
Writing it down.
How many times are they going to tease us with Brian Pillman? I feel like they've been teasing him for weeks.
And you're not wrong. They have at least 3. This is at least the 3rd week that they've said, we're going to see Brian Pillman after his accident. This will be the first appearance of Brian Pillman after his accident.
Maybe they were waiting to see if he'd wake up.
I wonder if he does actually show up.
And then at the end of the show, and I wrote down a note for this just to bring it up. At the end of the show, they showed the Dudleys footage from last week with the payphone deal. And then they just essentially spent 4 minutes showing us footage from the show we just watched. Pulp Fiction was sorely missed this week.
Well, at least I know why they reran the Dudley's payphone footage. That was just for my own laughter and enjoyment. they should do that every single week, man. I'm telling you.
And they should show the car scene. Yes, every week.
Every single week. I'm telling you. I'd watch 57 minutes of whatever they want to show me, anything, just so I can get to the end of that show.
Joey Styles is like, at the end of our show, as we do every week, ladies and gentlemen, we present the Dudley Boys and Yakety Sax.
Oh my God! Because at one point, doesn't Devon come chasing Bubba out the door again?
Of course.
but this time they don't show him running back and forth. He just runs out. And doesn't he go back and pick the phone up to see if he was talking to anybody?
But Bubba has the greatest fat guy run ever.
Bubba runs away. Devon picks up the phone. Down syndrome Dudley's in his wheelchair trying to yell at Devon, and
he was yelling. I don't know what the hell he was saying, but he was just sitting there.
I gave this episode. I gave this episode of the show. Actually, I gave it a C. This is to me, this is I don't want to say it wasn't. I mean, it's not bad, but for ECW, this was the worst show we've seen in months.
But I thought it was highly entertaining.
I got everything they were trying to do with Taz. I got everything they were trying to do with the 6-man. I know I can see they're trying to start new programs and push new people and et cetera, but I just did not find myself enjoying this episode as much as I have the recent episode.
Yeah, I actually kind of liked it. I mean, I thought it had action.
Mm-hmm.
It had plenty of comedy, whether or not they knew it or not at the time. It had Jason Hervey. Yeah, I mean, it had everything this show that we do needs. I'll tell you that for sure.
Okay, yeah. For an episode of ECW, I give it a C. For an episode of ECW for review purposes for this show, I give it an A.
Yes, at least a solid B, a B plus even. Yeah, because it definitely had its ups and downs for sure.
For me, it was like a half a pizza that you forgot to eat the night before. Like, it's still good, but it's not as good as it was.
So it would have been the pizza. It would have been the next day pizza then.
Yeah, it was next day pizza.
Yeah, it was cold pizza.
The show was cold
show
pizza.
Too? Did Ed Ferrara book that show as well?
Cold pizza with Ed Ferrara.
He smells like old pizza with Ed Ferrara.
Not old pizza, cold pizza.
Oh, he also smells like cold pizza.
Or he smells like Bobby Heenan. I think Ed Ferrara smells like Bobby Heenan said that fucking Jameson said. Bobby Heenan, I think he smells like what Bobby Heenan said Jameson smelled like.
Which was?
Smell like old socks and a Buick.
Do you ever watch the
Buick?
Do you ever watch that TV show, Mom?
I've seen some of it, yeah.
Well, if you ever catch it, you go into DVR and just see, and when you see it's coming on, just look at the name of the episode because they name them kind of like the way we're naming these shows. You really don't know where, like, how it all ties into it, whatever. It's just it has the so and so and the so and so. And you just laugh at the titles, and you're like, "What? What is this got to do with anything?" You know, old pizza and a Buick.
All right, so the name of this episode is Ed Ferrara, Old Pizza, and a Buick.
Yeah, that's gonna be on.
It's like a map lib. Like, what are we doing here?
It's gonna be on at 1:30 this morning on whatever channel Mom comes on, CMT. Old pizza and a Buick. Love it. Yeah, I gave it a B, man. Just for entertainment. Because the wrestling wasn't all that spectacular. Don't get me wrong on that. But it had its ups and downs.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, you can see seeds being planted for new rivalries and new stories. And there are some stories that are maybe dragging on a little too long, but there's definitely a lot of development going on. And there was even stuff they didn't cover this week. There was no Shane Douglas. There was no Too Cold.
Nope.
So, I mean, there's other stuff going on too. So it's one episode of a TV show, and it was fine.
And technically, we didn't get any squash matches. Like no Chad Austins, no El Puerto Ricanos, none of that, like, guys.
Mm-hmm.
It was all name matches except for Jason Hervey, whatever his name is. But they really could have put anybody out there and said he was a shoot fighter.
Well, I was reading while we were, because I didn't know anything about this Jason Helton guy, and I was reading just while we were doing the show. Apparently, he trained in the dungeon.
That's what they said.
And the reason he got his shot in ECW was actually because he was recommended by Chris Jericho to Paul Heyman. So thanks a lot, Chris Jericho.
Oh, that was a rib, dude. That was Jericho on his way out ribbing him. Hey, Paul, you got to use this turn. Turd.
That guy,
Oh no, I don't
either
need a
that,
turd.
either that, or that guy owed Jericho money. And he was like, "Hey,
Oh, pizza and a Buick.
well, he should build Gordon Lightfoot or whatever his fucking name was."
Gordon Lightfoot. That's what they should be talking about Raven's foot. Raven's right foot.
Gordon Thunderfoot.
Oh no, here we go. I thought the show was over.
It is. Thanks everybody for joining us this week on Reliving the Extreme. If you have not yet, if you are on the Facebook, go ahead and check us out on the WNR Podcast Network on Facebook. We do have a group there where we like to talk about wrestling and just little posts that anybody can have any conversations. Just a little bit of fun there. I post all the shows there as well.
Hey, can I say one thing as I close out, because I do want to speak about somebody who's doing me a very big favor, and I just want to give him a mention.
Yeah,
it's a friend of mine. His name is Raphael White. He does security work and he does investigation work, and he's actually doing a lot of stuff for me on the side to help me out in my situation. So I mean, if you can look him up, it's Raphael White. He's a funny guy too. But yeah, he's really helping me out. And if you need any investigative work or any security work, check him out. Good dude.
absolutely. Aaron?
I don't have anything. Just
You ain't got a Raphael White?
no.
Say goodbye, Aaron.
Goodbye, Aaron.